Okay.
Oh, but let's take today's message. But I know that we're excited about this weekend's play.
Yes, I am.
Yes. I'm coming back, by the way.
Oh, that's wonderful. And this
Coming
time with
Let's take today's message. I always come with friends. I never come alone. Unless on a few occasions.
No, normally you are bold enough to tell me who you're coming with.
Or not on there, Clevo. Clevo White.
Dan.
Very soon these conversations will come to an end. Very, very soon.
Daniel, why? Well, there are things that have happened in my life that I could not have planned that well. A lot of the life-transforming things in my life happened by accident. For instance, I got into theater by accident. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time in school. I became the artistic director of J Theater by accident. My friend, Enokesi, introduced me to the group, and just as I joined, the artistic director was transferred to Tamale, and he handed the group over to me. Because of that little exposure to the theater that I had had in secondary school. I did not plan it. From the human point of view, I have to say that it happened by accident. I look back over my life and I have to admit that the things that have transformed my life have all come my way, not through any strategy or planning on my side, but by what, for want of a better word, I have to call accident. And producing my latest play, Dora Why, at the National Theatre over the Easter weekend is no exception. We book our days at the National Theatre way in advance before we know what plays we will be working on. And when we booked the Easter weekend, we had no idea that the play we would be working on would be Dora Why. And yet the theme of the play fits into the Easter season perfectly. We could not have planned it any better. In the Easter story, we are exposed to the greatest forgiveness story ever. In the Easter story, according to Christian doctrine, the God against whom we have sinned is the one who takes the initiative to put into motion the process for our forgiveness. And that is the story of Dora Why. In the play, Jude, against whom the most grievous offense had been committed, is the one who initiates the process towards forgiveness. The Easter story is the greatest love story that can ever be. Easter demonstrates that love is not just a feeling, it is an action. That love is a verb, not a noun. It is a doing word, not a feeling word. We read in the Bible that God so loved the world that he did something about it. What did he do about it? He sent his only begotten Son to die for us. And that is the greatest love story ever. And in Dora Why, we tell possibly our greatest love story yet. In the play, Reverend Thomas Sowell's love for Mabel, his wife for 40 years, is not reciprocated. And yet he continues lavishing love on her. How a husband can cope with a wife like Mrs. Mabel Sower is something that will challenge all of us and remind us of the love of God. But arguably, the bigger love story is the one between Jude Carter and Audrey Sower, the daughter of the Sowers. It is a love story that illustrates the incredible power of love. Jude and Audrey should have been enemies for life, and yet because of the power of love and forgiveness, the two, which are the two themes of Easter, these two young people managed to find life and healing in love and forgiveness. Another theme of Easter that is echoed in Dora Why is one of my favorite themes in the Easter story, and it is this: resurrection is possible. Meaning, even the most hopeless case and situation can be turned around. In Dora Why, Joseph John was presumed dead and forgotten for 30 years, but when he resurfaced, he had become a man beyond everyone's imagination. Joseph John, an orphan, had overcome impossible odds to not only survive, but to thrive. Now note, when I was writing Dora Why, I did not set out to write an Easter story. I did not even know when we would get to produce it. And for this quarter's production, I presented 2 plays to the group, and they picked Dora Why. And if you watch the play, it will be difficult for me to convince you that it was not intended for Easter. I'm so glad and thankful to God that we get to present Ghanaians a beautiful and relevant production for Easter. But trust me, it was not planned. It is one of those things we call serendipity. And that is another key element in the Easter story. We, that is mankind, did not ask for Easter. We did not ask for forgiveness. We did not even know that we needed it. And yet, it was and continues to be offered to us. And that is the story of Easter. Thinking about it, it occurs to me that that is what life is all about. We often think we are in charge of our lives, but if we are honest with ourselves, we'll have to admit that the really important breakthroughs in our lives, we did not plan. They just happened to us, often whilst we were chasing something else. It reminds me of the lesson I learned when I studied the history of inventions. A lot of the epoch-making discoveries and/or inventions happened by accident. The scientist is looking for one thing, and something else completely unexpected by the scientist happens, and that becomes a breakthrough. When Sir Isaac Newton saw that apple fall from the apple tree that day on his mother's farm, he did not expect to find his biggest breakthrough in his career, the discovery of the laws of gravity. Alexander Fleming did not set out to discover penicillin. He was working on something totally different when he stumbled upon penicillin by accident when he forgot to clean up his workstation before taking a day off. And those are just two of the many instances when a scientist or inventor is working on one thing and discovers something important completely by accident. We see this phenomenon even in the case of exploration or adventure. Christopher Columbus did not set out to discover the Americas. He was looking for another route to the Far East in search of a better deal in the spice trade and discovered the Americas purely by accident. And that is life. It tells me that we are not as much in control as we would like to think we are. It tells me that there is a hand that directs our ways, and if only we will surrender to that hand, we will be all right. And that is the biggest Easter story. It says that God has us covered, and we need not be worried nor be afraid. We will be all right. And that is the Easter story. And that is also the story of Dora Y. A happy Easter to you. I hope that this Easter season, you'll take the time to reflect on the true Easter story and its meaning. And if you're able to make it to the National Theatre over the Easter weekend to watch Dora Y, you'll be glad you did. Dora Y will put the Easter story in a much better perspective for you. And remember, God has all of us covered.
Amen. That's a very encouraging message, to be covered.
Oh, we are covered. He has us covered.
Yes. Thank you very much.
We worry our heads for nothing.
Yeah. And another thing I learned from the Dora Y play is that if you find love, forgiveness is simpler.
True. Yeah.
Love makes forgiveness much simpler. And,
I like the fact that when Liverpool wins, you become a philosopher. I mean, everything that comes out of your mouth becomes right spot on.
Actually, but I'm playing this song for you. It's okay.